You're a bit of a slimy bastard, aren't you?
Thank you, sir.
Where's the tosser I usually have, Big Willie?
Mr. Shakespeare, yes. There may be a slight problem. Something to do with an undisclosed loan to buy a cottage in Stratford.
When did that get up?
Next Tuesday. I haven't quite finalised all the details. Well, I better leave you to learn the words of your speech.
No, I'm sorry, I can't say any of this crock of dung. I'm just going to get out there and tell the lads to get stuck in. The only good Frenchie's a dead one.
It's a little anti-European.
Of course it's anti-European, you big Jessie. It's the Battle of Agincourt. What do you want me to do, hold a bloody referendum? Right then. You get your scrawny, tatty bum in gear and write me a speech that's anti-French, that's a good patriotic rant that makes me sound like the kind of kick-ass king who's going to show them where to shove their baguettes. Or else.
Or else what?
Or else I'll pack you off to Belfast to sort out the Irish.
Shit.
In one revolution, in one day, we bring you the world. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, the BBC is with you on 2000 Today.
And look, I'm joined by the very tall piece of spaghetti-type person who's very sexy too. Jamie Theakston!
You only just managed to get out of that at the end.
No, please, it's been a long,
It has been a long... What time did you start?
9 o'clock this morning. Yesterday morning. Hey.
Yeah, it's getting a long day. I've just literally got off the back of a taxi bike. You do realise that? I've been like that.
I know, you were at the
Like that, all the way from Greenwich.
What are the streets like? Because I haven't been out there.
It's bedlam out there. It really is. It's like a scene from a Bruegel painting. South of the river is nuts. Traffic is solid. There's people literally partying in the streets. It's like Notting Hill Carnival from Greenwich all the way through southeast London.
Amazing.
Up to the... And they've shut all the bridges. Because apparently the bridge, I don't know if this is true, you probably know far more about this than me, but apparently the bridges, there were so many people on the bridges that they actually had to close the bridges.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. We actually haven't heard any numbers. Do you know through the news?
No.
Do you know how many numbers were actually in London? And...
No, I haven't. But it looks, I mean, it looked fantastic. What was the River of Fire like?
Oh, there we go. I've just had in my ear 1.75 million people in London.
Really?
Amazing.
That's a lot of people. OK, now I've also been asked to update you on the lottery numbers, and magically they're going to come through my ear and out of my mouth. 1901, oh, there they are, 1901, 1918, 1950, 1958, 1986 and 1903. That was the very first draw. And the second draw after midnight in the new millennium, 1575 and 2832. 1575 and 2832.
I got a feeling I missed out.
Yes.
I didn't take down that last one, I was very close. Lots of millionaires
Yeah,
tonight.
lots tonight.
Wonderful. OK, now over to the birthplace of British pop, Liverpool, where thousands of ravers and music fans have been celebrating at Cream 2000 inside what I'm told is the biggest tent in Britain, where they're in the middle of a DJ set. Kate Thornton is there. Kate, what's it like?
Absolutely brilliant, Jamie. What a party we're having tonight. 25,000 people crammed under the biggest tented structure in the UK. And with me is James Barton and Jane Casey, the people responsible for this. Happy New Year, you two.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
What a night it's been.
Yeah, no, it's like, well, Liverpool's never seen a party this big before. We're overjoyed. It's fantastic. It's been great.
And a star-studded event too. Jane, who have we seen on stage tonight?
It's fantastic. Orbital were brilliant at midnight. Stereophonics rocked the house. Lightning Seed, Space. It was just mega, wasn't it? We've had a great night. And loads of happy faces.
Absolutely, lots of very happy faces. Now, you two have been working on this event for over a year now. Is it everything you thought it would be?
Sorry?
Is tonight everything you thought it would be, James?
Even more. It's amazing. We're just delighted with the way it's all gone, and everything's gone really smoothly. 25,000 people here. We're blown away.
Brilliant. Well, one of the biggest bands in Britain adorn the stage tonight with one of their biggest hits. They are, of course, the mighty Stereophonics, and this is Bartender and the Thief.
Tell you what, it's all happening in
I have to say,
Cream.
that makes me slightly hysterical, the thought of being stuck in there in 25,000 people. The heat must be unbelievable.
Really?
You can tell I'm getting old.
Yeah, well, it's a sign. We had 15,000 people down at Greenwich, but that was, what was that, 25,000 people? Is that what they said? Extraordinary.
Incredible.
Are you a big Stereophonics fan?
I actually like... Don't look so surprised. I do
wasn't
like them.
surprised at all.
Michael Parkinson and Michael Burt before, me singing along to Manic Street Preachers, you should have seen them. Oh, do you know this? I went, yeah, I love it.
Great. Hopefully we'll be able to dig that out and play it a little bit later on. Anyway, Louis Armstrong, the great jazz pioneer whose 100th birthday will be celebrated this year, radically altered the way musicians thought of and played their instruments. Over in the UK, a group of musicians are pushing back musical boundaries and taking Armstrong's contributions even further.
Hi, thanks very much indeed, Jamie. Yes, here we are in Chapeltown in Leeds. We've got some fantastic stuff going on here. We've actually got some brilliant African drummers who I think, if we ask them really nicely, he might give us a bit of a rendition. The whole world is watching you, guys. Give us a go, please. Off you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Yes, absolutely fantastic stuff. We're going to have a camera. Thank you very much, camera over here. This is brilliant stuff. Now, we are here in Chapeltown, and this man is responsible for letting us in. His name is Steve Byfield, and he has this party every single year. Steve, tell us all about it. Why do you have a party here every single year?
Don't tell people that.
Yeah, man. No, come on. Why do you have a party every year?
Well, don't you like to have a good time?
I do indeed. And why so many different styles of music have you got here tonight?
It's a big life out there.
Go on, more than that. The whole world's listening. Tell me a bit more.
Loads of music. We like to mix it up because we know a lot of music.
Brilliant. Okay. See, thank you very much indeed. Now, no worries at all. We've got some brilliant stuff here. We have got rappers here tonight. We have got people doing poetry. We've got all sorts of stuff here. I don't know whether if Jamie's still listening. I mean, have you ever had a go at probably doing a little bit of that drumming yourself, Jamie? Because you sound like a man who's got a bit of rhythm. Can you hear me at all out there? He's not answering. That's because he's too scared. We've also got upstairs. We've got a fantastic sound system. They did. Yeah, you can hear me, Jamie. Can you? Are you a drummer, Jamie? Are you a drummer, man?
Not much of a drummer. That just looked like just a normal Christmas round at the Roslin household, though. I don't know how you think about that. I think it's more Gabby's scene, Tony. It looks fun, though.
It's absolutely brilliant. In fact, some of these clothes, I think they've been modelled on what you guys are probably wearing in the studio. It's brilliant stuff here. Anyway, that's it from us here in Leeds. Please come back. We've got loads more stuff. We'll see you soon. Back to the studio.
Thanks very much.
By the year 2000, there will be 820 million telephone lines on the planet. But in a single day, the phones connected to these lines still generate less electrical impulses than the human brain. By the year 2000, there will be 420 million mobile phone users. The computing power of a single mobile phone today exceeds that used in the first Apollo mission to the moon. By the year 2000, the world's phone calls will travel 320 billion kilometers each day. 50 times further than the edge of our solar system.
In the show, we've been giving you the most incredible facts and figures and more there. Now we're going to dip in and out of the country and find out how everybody's been celebrating. First of all, we're going to go to Newcastle.
Earlier this evening, there were some spectacular scenes down at one of the 3 war memorials in Newcastle. And the reason we're here is because Geordies have always believed in honouring their dead. And they've chosen to remember them at the end of this millennium with the spectacular from Trans Express. For their finale, 2 drummers swinging on a huge pendulum aboard their giant drum beat out a rhythm which is picked up by these drummers below. Together, they represent those of us on Earth, here and now. While 60 feet above their heads, would you believe, and representing our heavenly forebearers is this giant mobile with a trapeze act and a string quartet. Now, the earthly sound of the drums, mingled with the otherworldly sound of the strings, build up to a grand finale that they call the 2000 Strokes of Midnight.
Sorry, are you
Yeah, no, it's
busy
there.
doing something
No,
else?
that's where it is.
Oh, I see.
We've been
I
watching
haven't
it all
actually
night.
seen behind me yet. That's the first time I've actually looked round and it's there.
That's why you've been wondering why I keep looking at your shoulder, because I'm looking over your shoulder there.
Did you see the acrobatics there?
I know, we're watching it all night. That's what you've been missing.
But now, you see, I'm now enthralled by all this.
Fantastic.
Because obviously it's the first time
Actually,
I've
you
seen
really
it.
was. We're sitting there.
But I tell you what, that's nothing compared to what's happening in Coventry. Take a look at this.
Thank you, hello and welcome to Coventry. Behind me are the medieval spires of St Michael's, Coventry's old cathedral, destroyed in the Blitz of 1940, and Holy Trinity Church, both right here in the heart of the city. This is a unique location for one of the last remaining challenges for tightrope walkers, because tonight those 2 spires are linked by 260 feet of steel wire. Here's a sample. It's only 11 millimetres thick. Hundreds of people have gathered here in the centre of Coventry to watch as 27-year-old Raymond Kelvink Jr., a 5th-generation tightrope walker, pauses as he steps onto the wire of Holy Trinity Church.
man was doing.
Mad.
Did you notice we had an earpiece? Did you see that? Obviously, had people telling him what to do.
Exactly.
Left a bit, right a bit, straight on.
Very straight. Keep straight. Well, now we're going back to the States and to somewhere which can lay claim to being at least one of the places where rock and roll was born. Right down there on the Louisiana coast, we're going to New Orleans.
A party going on. There's a party going on. We're fun #1. So come on. There's a party going on right now. In the heat of the South, down in New Orleans, in the land of the good times and Cajun queens, where to tickle the ivory all night long. Come on, everybody, there's a party going on. And it's wall-to-wall fun for everyone. And there's plenty enough to go around. So put on your dancing shoes and get in the groove. You've got nothing to lose but the moves. Drink, 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 and be merry. Drink, drink, drink in the city of the mighty. Drink, 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 and be merry. There's a party going on, a party going on. There's a hearty party going on, and fun is #1. So come on, there's a party going on right now. There's a party going on, party going on. There's a party going on. Going on. A party going on. There's a party going on. Party going on. We will be back after this for a New Orleans tradition that took a brand new meaning today.
We have prayed, we have sung, we have meditated about all the tragedies and the problems, all the negative things of the old century, of the old millennium, and we want to bury all our problems, especially the evil problems in our life.
I'm Wanda Ruzon, and I'm your Grand Marshal for today. Taking this Millennium Jazz funeral on home. We're gonna have a hot time in old town. For a second now. Check it out.
The funeral itself has its roots in African tradition. When one died, he had to have a proper or fitting burial. And then there was a parade of mourners who followed doing chants and rhythms. The Treme neighborhood is the oldest African-American neighborhood in this country. Many of the jazz greats known all over the world either lived in Treme or played their music and spent many of their days in Treme. The dirges that you hear in the beginning of a jazz funeral came from the French martial type of music. And now we're on our way to Basin Street. Ah, Basin Street, my Basin Street. Child, it's the place where the old folks meet, down in New Orleans. It's where jazz was alive, in all the brothels and whorehouses. We're on our way, though, to the cemetery, to St. Louis #1.
We are here today to declare the end of the old millennium and the beginning of the new millennium. And with the old millennium goes so many of the great triumphs, but also the tragedies as we start fresh and we start new to embrace the new millennium.
We are hearing the joyous, up-tempo, second-line beat music because the millennium is cut loose and on to better days we go. Whew, what a second life. Child, I have jumped on my feet, I have clapped my hands, and I have shook my booty. And that's what brings it all down home, down to New Orleans.
It seems so weird, doesn't it? They go, they have this funeral, and then all of a sudden they're partying, they're having a good time. What they were doing there, apparently, is saying goodbye to the old millennium, burying the old millennium, saying hello to the new. But that's an old tradition in New Orleans. They have this funeral where they're very, very quiet, and then they have a good old party. I think we're going to go back to New Orleans, actually. I think we're going to have another number in Storyville. Amazing. Jazz trumpeter Nicholas Payton. He's great, isn't he? In Storyville, that's the heart. Now, you've been to New Orleans, isn't it? That is the heart of the jazz district.
Is it on? I've been in. Is it on Bourbon Street? Because I went to. Funny enough, myself and Zoe Ball, who we all know, we were invited to New Orleans to go and ride on a float in Mardi Gras, which is one of the biggest honours that you can do on
Oh, amazing. Mardi Gras, that's in February, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
They keep on partying.
So, I mean, I was actually on a float with Stevie Wonder, Harry Connick Jr., Quincy Jones, myself and Zoe Ball.
How
is that?
fantastic.
Extraordinary. They drive the floats into this huge hall, and everyone's throwing their beads and stuff like that. And this guy went, and now, two of the biggest TV stars from Europe, Miss Zoe Ball and Jamie. And of course, everyone's, I don't know, they had no clue who we were.
We don't know
but
who
it was
they
fun.
are. And voodoo's a big thing there as well in New Orleans,
nothing about voodoo whatsoever.
No, okay, all right. Well, we're going to... we'll leave it there, I think. We'll have more music a lot later, but first we're going to catch up with all the global goings-on and go to Tony Robinson, who's been dropping in on some of the planet's best parties. Tony, what's been happening up there?
Some pretty heavy name-dropping from Jamie there at 2:30 in the morning. But we've been looking at pictures over the last hour or so, and the BBC editors have been snatching them up for you so that we can show you the very best. In fact, by the end of the day, I reckon that viewers to the BBC will have seen more people celebrating the millennium than viewers of any other television station in the whole world. The first pictures that we want to show you are from Mexico. These are actually from the ancient city of El Tajín, and it's the ceremonial dance of the Totonac people. And those wonderful headdresses are the headdresses of the Quetzal bird, and they signify the sun and the planets rotating round and round. They go on for hours dancing like this to cleanse the soul and ask for a renewal. A bit like a lot of clubbers in Britain will be doing over the next few hours. The Indians have actually travelled for miles and miles to come here for this celebration. That's called the Pyramid of 365 Niches, that building in the background. And this is Spain, Santiago de Compostela, the cathedral in which they reckon are the bones of the disciple James, the cousin of Jesus. It's the capital of Galatia, so there's a big Gallic, Celtic influence. No castanets here. And these pilgrims represent the millions of pilgrims who have been to Santiago over the last 500 years or so. If you had a pilgrimage to Santiago, you got off half your time in purgatory, so it was well worth going. Now, this is a bit romantic. This is an ice wedding in Sweden. It's a hotel made completely of ice, about 200 kilometres from the Arctic Circle. It's a Swedish man, and his wife is a Sami. That's the people that we used to call the Lapps. Now, the best countdown to the millennium must go to Rio de Janeiro. Well, I reckon that countdown was brilliant, and we'll be showing you the millennium from all over South America in about a quarter of an hour or so, maybe a little bit later than that. So, back to you on the studio floor.
Thanks so much, Tony. Extraordinary. Was that
ice wedding? I know. I'd love to go to that ice hotel as well, the one they build every year. It would be fantastic, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be short for something in your drink.
Absolutely no central heating.
No.
What I've been told.
Very cold.
Anyway, well, in a few moments, we're going to be looking at some more music from around the country and the world. Coming up, we've got Jean-Michel Jarre from France, Björk from Iceland, and the legendary Cliff Richard from Weybridge. So stay with us, but first, as you know, I was at the amazing Millennium Party concert at Greenwich earlier on, and here are some of the bits you didn't see.
Holding back the year, thinking of the fear I've had so long. When somebody here listen to the fear that's gone, strangled by the wishes of Peter, hoping for the arms of nature, get to meet us sooner or later. I'll keep holding on, I'll keep holding on, holding back the chance for me escape from all I've known, holding back the tears. nothing here is grown. I've wasted all my tears, wasted all those years. Nothing had the chance to be good, nothing ever could, yeah. Oh, I'll keep holding on, I'll keep holding on, I'll keep holding on, I'll keep holding on. Hold me so tight. When you're a boy, some days are tough. Lying on your bed, playing punk rock and stuff. Home is a boot camp, you gotta escape. Wanna go and wander in the ticker tape. You feel the deal is real. You're a New York City boy, so young, so wrong. Into New York City, New York City boy. You'll never have a bored day, 'cause you're a New York City boy. Where 7th Avenue meets Broadway. The street is amazing, the hoochie's unreal. Check out all the hardware at the latest deal. Hear a song, that's the bomb. If you don't get the mix, it's got 86. You feel the deal is real. You're in New York City, New York City boy. This is your reward day, 'cause you're a New York City boy. Where 7th Avenue meets Broadway. You feel the deal is real. You're a New York City boy, so young, so wrong. Into New York City, New York City boy. You'll never have a bored day, 'cause you're a New York City boy. Where 7th Avenue meets Broadway.
Well, that was what was happening in Greenwich.
We were dancing
A
along.
little
to
bit
it.
later than
she
you
was,
were.
yeah.
I enjoyed it. But I tell you what, it's also happening in Manchester. Let's go over to Angela Griffin to find out what's going on.
In the Castlefield area of Manchester, the Millennium Bug was defeated in the most spectacular way. A huge metallic bug has emerged from the canal, terrorising the crowd.
The people of Manchester United have formed the binary number 2000, which destroyed the bug's power. A beautiful butterfly arose to take us into the new millennium.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to speak. I am the spirit of 2000, and there is no need to be afraid. I have been trapped inside the bug since it was first born. But now that you have set me free, I can wish you peace for the new millennium. The only way I could escape was if you all joined together and truly believed in the future. Most of our fears are only man-made dragons, and there is always a way to slay them. Just work together, and goodness will always triumph over evil. Let there be respect for the earth, for its people, love in our lives, delight in the good, forgiveness for past wrongs, and from now on, a new start. Happy New Millennium.
That was from one Millennium Bug. To find out about more, and I have to say, you get the best top of the whole show, Philippa Forrester. Great top, girl.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about the bug, please.
I'll tell you about the bug rather than my top. Nearly 3 hours into the new year and Bugwatch is still on duty. So, looking around the world, the trouble is there's not a lot happening. There's the world. Moving into Japan, we had a couple of incidents in Japan. They were the worst hit, but by minor problems in nuclear monitoring power stations and the failure of a computer which handles flight information for small planes and helicopters. Though it's not confirmed, all those incidences are thought to be bug-related. Across the rest of the world, moving Southern Asia, the Middle East and Europe, governments are sounding a cautious all clear, and that's true here in the UK too. So far, there don't seem to be any problems here at all. But we must stress that we are only 3 hours into the new millennium, and I think, well, we all think that problems could hit when everyone goes back into their offices, because no one's there at all at the moment. So that's the bigger picture. That's what's happening around the world. What's happening in our homes? What's happening around you now? Well, things like your appliances in the kitchen, microwaves, toasters, kettles, all the rest of it, they don't care what date it is, so they shouldn't be affected at all. This computer, look at this. We've kept this running, and it's gone to the 1st of the 4th, 1980. That's because it was built in the 80s, and the earliest date it can think of to go to is the 80s. So, sorry, that's the 4th of January it's gone to, 1980. So that's the earliest date it knows, and it's gone to 1980. If you have any problems with your computer, probably the best advice we can give you is to get in touch with your manufacturer. Your PC should still work, though. Fingers crossed. Now, we did dredge up this antique video recorder, and it seems to be working fine. In fact, search though we did, we've not been able to find a video recorder that is affected by the bug. But if you're unlucky and yours is, try resetting it to today's date in 1973. That's our top tip, because that year had the same days of the week as the year 2000. Now, obviously, this isn't a perfect solution. It doesn't take into account leap years, but it should still record most of the programs you want it to. Okay, that's all I think from us at the moment.
Thank you. I have to say, you're worrying Jamie a lot.
What's the matter?
He's
Lex?
hysterical when
It's just
he
that
sees
huge
that
bug
bug.
that you have on the back of the screen. I can see it over the back of my shoulder, and I just find it quite disconcerting.
And there was me thinking you were worrying about something electrical.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Martine McCutcheon had the Millennium Bug.
Did she?
Yeah, filthy flu she had earlier on.
Everybody
She
has.
was very worried about...
And poor Peter Snow.
Well, he's gone to bed now for a well-deserved sleep, I think.
Absolutely.
We'll see him again in the morning, but his voice...
Oh, he hardly had a voice, did he? And
No.
everybody's been coughing and spluttering everywhere. We share here. We share them.
Absolutely. Right, well, we've got a very exciting midnight coming up because it's in New York. And I think we can go over to Brian Barron, who's in New York. He's quite near Times Square. Brian, where are you?
I'm right in the middle of Times Square, in fact, on a remarkably smooth evening so far, with about 2.5 hours to go before a huge crystal ball comes down and says the millennium has reached the Big Apple.
And Brian, they're expecting an enormous party there. How many people do you think are there? They were talking about maybe 1 million, maybe more would be coming.
It's probably 1 million, very difficult to quantify because of the pretty tight control the police are exercising. They've got everything channeled north and south of here, running up towards Central Park and also towards the downtown. But they've got various sections cordoned off, and they've also declared the whole of this part of Manhattan an alcohol-free zone. So far, people are pretty happy. It's quite a family occasion, but we haven't had any real violence, which, you know, some years ago used to be a characteristic feature of New Year's here. This one is going very smoothly so far, and no problems to report at all.
Well, that's very good news. Now, tell us, Brian, about the tradition of dropping that ball, which I think started, what, 90, maybe more years ago. How did that start?
It started in 1906 when the man who owned the New York Times hit upon the idea. The Times, in fact, gave its name to this square. Originally it was called Longacre Square, then it was renamed Times Square, and hit upon the idea of this huge silver crystal ball balanced on the top of a flagpole. In fact, it's only about 100 yards behind me on the top of one of the skyscrapers. Right at the beginning, the idea was to indicate the new year arriving, in this case, of course, the new millennium, by slowly letting the ball fall. It takes exactly 60 seconds, and at that time, on this occasion, now at the end of 1999 in New York City, the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, is going to press the button, and the ball will come down, and then there'll be a huge fireworks display just up the road from here in Central Park.
Okay, and Brian, New Yorkers always say that theirs is the New Year's Eve capital of America. Do you think that's right? Because Washington say they've got an enormous fireworks display going on as well.
I don't think they feel modest at all in this town. They rather regard themselves as the capital of the world. But frankly, on the basis of what the hundreds of thousands around here have seen on the big TV screens lining Times Square, what they saw from Paris and London, I'll be very surprised if what's going to go on here really quite matches up to that in terms of the firepower and so on.
Okay, well, we'll leave you to get back to your party, Brian Barron. Thanks very much.
Amazing. Do you know, I was actually lucky enough a few years ago to celebrate New Year's Eve in New York.
Oh, it must have been amazing, was it?
It was fantastic, I have to say.
It's an alcohol-free zone.
I know.
Doesn't make it sound
but
so
there's
fantastic.
No trouble. But there's no trouble.
No trouble at all. I can't wait for that. I mean, what is that thing we were talking about? This huge, it's just a glitter ball, right? Is that all it is?
Yeah,
That's
and
the
it is
kind of thing that you
amazing.
have
It
in
takes-
Cinderella
yeah.
Rockefellers on
No,
the
but
old
it's
Kent
bigger.
Road.
It's huge.
And it's covered in Waterford crystal this time. It's a
It's a
different ball to the
specially
ones
made
they've
one, a
been
new
dropping.
one.
Very special ball this time.
An alcohol-free zone. Anyway, we're now back in the UK, and it's time for some more mellow music from the Millennium Party at Greenwich earlier on tonight. And while you're watching and enjoying the music, why not just make one little relaxing, life-changing call to the Children's Promise? The free number is 0800 10 60 10. That's 0800 10 60 10. Meanwhile...
How you
I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. I didn't want to hurt you. I'm just a jealous guy. I was feeling insecure. You might not love me anymore. I was shivering inside. Oh, I was shivering inside. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. I didn't want to hurt you. I'm just a jealous guy.
Sithi izela inkosi yamakhosi